You have to see this. Every time I stop blending with the stick blender, even for a second, look at it. It separates just a little bit. It's kind of crappy. I hope I don't burn the motor out of my stick blender. But, yeah. So you just gotta keep blending and blending. And blending and blending. Okay, so it's actually starting to thicken up, but as you can see, every time I stop whizzing, it still kind of separates a bit, which is weird. And it says to not stop stirring, to keep stirring the stock till it further changes to the consistency of sticky saltwater taffy. The more coconut oil in the formulation, the more stickier the mass. But for oils, soft oils, it may take a it may take a while. Look at that. Very pasty. Yay! Whoops. Starting to get there. Not quite taffy, but getting very close. Okay, so that's what I got it to, just stirring. And I put it in the big pot that is now like at a, you know, small boil. So it's on there. And I guess I didn't have to do it that long. Like the picture, as you see here, it doesn't look like it's quite as thick as what I have right now. But it says you put it into a gently boiling water of the double boiler. And use the lid of the larger pot if it has one. Cooking time for the paste will be about 3 hours. And after 5 to 10 minutes of cooking, remove the soap pot from the double boiler bottom and check for lye separation. It says potassium solutions will separate from the paste if the paste was understirred. So, and if separation has occurred, it will appear as a watery layer at the bottom of the pot. So stir again, incorporate it back into the paste, set it back into the kettle and continue cooking for 5 or 10 minutes. Check for separation. It says too, don't be alarmed if the paste pops up, because potassium pastes are so sticky that they trap air, and the air will heat up and expand it, creating what it looks like a souffle. And after a few stirrings with a spoon or spatula, the air will escape. And if left in the soap, it says the trapped air actually slows the saponification rate. So you don't want that to happen. Or I don't anyway. You may need to stir another time or two over the next half hour to liberate all the trapped air. Okay, so over the next half hour, liberate all the trapped air, but the puffing will stop. And if it continues to puff up after an hour of cooking, you may have a problem with excess alkali. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I used a 0% lye discount with this. They actually recommend in this book that you use like 10%. I think it's 10% more lye than you actually need. And it's an awful excess amount of lye, so I didn't want to do that. So I just used 0%. Okay, so I checked it and I just stirred it. There was no separation at all, no puffing or anything, so that was good. Okay, I just stirred it again. Oops. Looking pretty good. Definitely looks like jelly, you know. Anyway, this is the end of the checking it every 15 minutes type of section. Now I can wait and let it, now I can wait and let it sit for a half an hour and check it in a half an hour. So that's what I'm going to do. Cover it up to conserve the heat. So I'm back from my little soap delivery. My husband actually stirred my soap for me. Ooh! See how transparent that is? That's good. It's a very good sign. I like it. It still has to cook for another hour. I might let it cook for 2 hours. We'll see. I'm just going to stir it and then put the cover on and check it again. Okay, so I did my test when I measured out 2 ounces of water and distilled water, and then I boiled it and I added some of the paste to it, and the paste looked kind of clear. It didn't dissolve though fully, so but it's getting late, so I boiled the other, what did I use? The other 22 ounces of water, and then I just added it in, and I'm just going to let it set overnight to dissolve. Okay. It sure is stubborn at dissolving, but I guess it's because I have a lot of soft oils in there. That's why it's taking a long time. But hopefully it will be all dissolved by morning. Okay, so I had a few problems. This is the next morning. Most of my problems, though, was because I just couldn't leave my soap alone, and I had to frig around with it. And then I'd heat it up, and it would start to get like a little film on the top, and then I'd have to add more water. And then I would heat it up again, and it would start to gel again. So, the moral of this story is, you know, just add the water and leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So, it's almost all diluted again for like the 4th time. Okay, so I also wanted to show you that my soap is a little cloudy. So I'm not going to cook it anymore. I cooked it for I think it ended up being like 4.5 hours by the time I tried to test it and then see if it was dilute the little bit amount. What was it, 1 ounce? I diluted 1 ounce in 2 ounces of water, and it didn't dilute very fast. And by the time I was, you know, it had been like the rest of it had been cooking for 4.5 hours, so I just added the water to it without letting the rest of it dissolve. And apparently that happens, you know, when you have a lot of soft oils in your liquid soap recipe, is that it takes a long time for the oils to dissolve in the water paste. If this was mostly coconut oil, it wouldn't take as long. It would dilute fairly easily. So this is almost done, and I'm going to make my citric acid solution. So even though I know that there's probably a lot of free fatty acids in there, I'm still going to add the citric acid solution, because it could be because I used shea butter and jojoba oil, both of which have a high amount of unsaponifiable fatty acids, so it could just be because of that. So there still could be lye left in there, even though it's testing cloudy. I feel like I could test it with my phenolphthalein. That's what I'll try. Here, just a second. Okay, here we go. Please excuse the mess on my stove. I had my soap boil over on me, as you can see. At one point I was trying to get supper and soap at the same time, and yeah. So let's see. I put a little tiny bit in there. Wow, it doesn't look pink at all, does it? Oh, there we go, now you can see it. Yeah, it doesn't look pink at all. Woo! Good. That makes me happy. And the recipe says 2 ounces of citric acid to 8 ounces of boiling distilled water. I don't think I need that much right now, so I'm having it. I'm 1 ounce of citric acid, that's right here. And I've measured out 4 ounces of distilled water. And then I think I'm going to add, actually, bring to boil some more water, about a cup, and then put my oat milk in it and try to soften it up a bit and heat it up a bit, and then add that to the soap that way, and I'll show you that. Okay, so it started boiling, so I added the citric acid, and it's just dissolving right now. Okay, so I need 3/4 of an ounce per pound of soap. So 0.7 is good enough, since I already tested my soap, and it actually doesn't have any lye in it anyway. So I'm just adding the citric acid. Oh my, look what happened there. I guess maybe I'm supposed to heat up the soap first, and it doesn't say that in the book.